rolling with the punches here. We put on some Valor oil while we get this going. Okay. So guys, today is all about boosting your immunity and your healing. Now, obviously, we know why we have decided to talk about this now. The entire country, the entire world is more concerned, more aware than ever of the importance of the immune system. And I think that we're all realizing, I actually don't really understand how the immune system works. So what am I supposed to do to support my immune system when I don't actually know how it works, right? And so I did a whole bunch of research. I watched so many webinars, read so many books, anything I could find that I could get into my hands or that I could watch with my eyes very quickly about the immune system. I dove in because I have a working knowledge of it that is fairly deep based on my own personal health issues, but it's been so long since I looked into all of that I wanted to refresh myself before I got on here and gave you guys the lowdown. So I'm going to go through a bunch of information tonight. And in fact, I'm going to go through so much that I'm not going to be able to get through everything that I would like to get through. So what I want you to do is in the comments or message me if you're more comfortable doing that, leave me your email address. Even if you watch this back on the replay, leave me your email address that you would like me to send the follow-up information to. I've got that all ready to go to start sending out to you guys hopefully tomorrow or Friday. But I want to be able to get into your inbox some more suggestions for what you can do that we won't have time to go over today. So please leave that below, your email address, and I'll get you added. Okay, I want to start out by telling you guys my story with my immune system because it will explain why I'm so passionate about this. So growing up, I was always a sickly child. And the funny thing is that I didn't really know that I was a sickly child. I just thought that was, the way people were. I thought that your stomach hurt. I thought that you got a lot of ear infections and a lot of throat infections and, that lots of people had asthma and allergies. I just thought that was like a thing. It was my life. So I wasn't aware that it could have been any other way. I also had scoliosis. I had tonsillitis a whole bunch of times. I ended up in college, I fixed a lot of my health issues by just totally changing the way that I ate, getting all the crap out of my life from products and from food and really cleaning up my diet. But then I ended up with emotional things and hormonal things and stress-related things that impacted my health and my immune system. And so I had to figure out from a whole different angle how to support immunity and healing. And I found a few key products and techniques that absolutely were life-changing for me, that helped me to go from being sick almost all the time, like not shocked at all if I got the latest cold or if I got another bout of tonsillitis or if my asthma was bothering me or my allergies, to go from trying to remember the last time I was sick so that I could tell you guys. I get sick so infrequently now that I don't remember when the last time I got sick was in order to tell you. I think I can count back to 2 years and it might be longer. So it's been a while. And that is absolutely life-changing to go from being sick all the time to go from being sick almost never. So I wanted to start with that because absolutely, if you're over there on the other side of this computer screen, raising your hand saying, that's me, I get sick all the time and I hate it. I feel tired all the time and I hate it. You absolutely can go from feeling sick all the time, frequently getting whatever's going around and just assuming that is the standard, to not being able to remember the last time you got sick. That is what I want for you. That is what I'm super passionate about. So we're going to talk about that tonight. But before we dive in, make sure to give me your email so I can send you more info at the end of this. And we're going to talk about 2 things tonight. All right? Michelle, I've known you for almost 4 years and can't remember you being sick. Yeah, like almost never. I did get tonsillitis once since I've known you. And I remember laying there and thinking, I didn't take any medication, which I'm not saying that you shouldn't take medication. I'm not a doctor. I don't prescribe anything. But I healed naturally from it. And I just told myself, this is going to be the last time that I get sick. So it may be that, but I don't even remember when that was. 3 years ago, maybe? Anyways, anywho, yeah, I'm never sick, and I'm grateful for it every single solitary day. So we're going to talk about two things tonight. We're going to talk about the basics of how the immune system works. What the heck? How does this whole thing work? And we're going to talk about how you can boost your immunity and healing. What are the things that you can do to support your immune system? Now, the bad part is that turns out the immune system is super complex. I'm sure you already knew that. The good news is, turns out the things that you need to do to support your immune system are actually super simple. So don't fret that this first part of this is kind of complex, because actually the fixes are easy. I just believe 100% that the more you understand, the more you can realize how everything fits together, the more you can realize how making one change can create this huge domino positive effect. And knowledge is power. So first we're going to shine a light on the science behind the immune system. All right, keeping it as simple as humanly possible. If you're a note taker, take those notes. There will be plenty for you. Okay, 3 main aspects of the immune system. 1, your immune barriers. 2, your innate immunity. And 3, your adaptive immunity. All right? So there are 3 main parts. We've already way simplified it for you. It's not a gazillion things anymore. It falls under 3 categories: immune barriers, innate immunity, and adaptive immunity. So what are those? Your immune barriers are your first line of defense against getting sick or having a pathogen enter your body that your body has to get rid of, all right? These immune barriers are your skin, your nose, your mucosal membranes, your stomach acid, and your enzymes. These are all of the things that the pathogen, the potentially harmful thing, touches first. That makes you do things like cough, sneeze, throw up, go to the bathroom. It makes you stuffy, makes your eyes water, right? So that is your body's first immediate rapid fire response to a potential harmful thing trying to enter into your body, all right? When that first line of defense doesn't work, when the sneeze doesn't work, when the cough doesn't work, when hurling it out of your body doesn't work, then your innate immune system jumps into play. Your innate immunity comes to play. And then if that's not enough, your adaptive immunity will try to help you out as well. So now we're going to go into the deeper dive below the surface of the skin, below the nose, below the eyes, below the mucous membranes, all that stuff. The immune organs in the body are your adenoids, tonsils, thymus, bone marrow, intestines, appendix, spleen, and the lymphatic system, which is throughout the entire body. So, as I said before, it's large, it's complex, there's a lot of things going on, right? So for me, it was my tonsils would always give up the ghost. And I'm so grateful now that I had an annoying doctor who would not take my tonsils out. I wanted them out so bad after the 3rd or 4th time I got tonsillitis, and they just wouldn't take them out. And thank goodness, because now I have them there for my line of defense, now that all my defenses are working better. A lot of people are missing their appendix, right? Some people, it's spleen, but it's like all of these are so important. I'll point out, if you don't know, your thymus is right behind this necklace, like right behind this bone. And one simple tip, just to give you a tip so you don't get too bored, to get your immune system to activate is to tap your thymus. You can gently tap it in the morning, kind of just to wake it up and let it know it's time for another day. If you start to feel a little under the weather, you can gently tap. And that just activates some of the cells that we'll talk about in a minute. That's just tiny tip number 1. All right, so we've talked about the immune organs. Now let's look at the immune cells. This is a Venn diagram. You guys know I love a Venn diagram. Circle 1, circle 2, in the middle, right? Venn diagrams are my fave. Okay, so in our first circle, we have the innate immune cells, the rapid response team. That includes macrophages, so like your white blood cells, natural killer cells, neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, dendritic cells. Those are my personal favorite. And then in the Venn diagram of acting in both rapid and slower response is your T cells and your natural killer T cells, okay? Then over in this other circle is our adaptive, our slower part of our immune system, is the B cells, which create your antibodies. And all of those T cells, like the CD4 plus, the CD8 plus, the helper cells, the cytokines, all of those super, super important cells. So maybe that's the first time you've heard of some of those. Maybe it's not. Maybe you've heard of the Treg cells. But either way, I think it's important to know them. I think it's important to know that if you hear one of those names, it already triggers in your brain, oh, we're talking immune system, right? So I'm going to give you a few more things to know, to tuck away into your binder, into your computer, into your brain about these different immune cells. Your natural killer cells, those, as you might guess, kill the pathogens. They kill cancer cells. Anything they think that does not belong inside the body, they kill it and get it out of there. Okay, your mast cells contain histamine. Your B cells create antibodies. Your macrophages eat up and destroy cells. Your dendritic cells, remember this is my personal fave, your dendritic cells capture and present to the other immune cells, like the B cells, this bad guy that they've found and say, hey, look what I found. Here's a bad guy. And then the B cells make antibodies and send out the antibodies to go find the things that look like what the dendritic cell captured and get rid of all of them. I love that image of they're like the cops handcuffing the bad guys. Okay, so all of the innate, remember innate meaning already existing, right? The innate immune cells and processes are rapid. If it gets past your nose, your eyes, your skin, this is what immediately happens. That innate immune cells go into rapid response, identify, kill, remove. Identify, kill, remove. Get it out of there. All right? Our adaptive immune system is slower and arguably smarter. They're kind of the nerds of your immune system. They create antibodies, which then go around and look for a specific pathogen to grab that pathogen and get it out of the body. So if we're going to talk about viruses, none of us have ever been exposed to a virus, we don't have antibodies for it. It takes our body a while for the dendritic cell to go find the virus, bring it to the B cell, tell the B cell, hey, I think this is a bad guy. The B cell creates an antibody. The antibody goes out and looks for the bad guys. It grabs the bad guys and it tries to fight them off and get rid of them. That's a process. It takes a while. So that's why talking about in the news when you hear whether or not someone has created antibodies, the type of antibodies, the level of antibodies, the number in the body, and how many of the antibodies versus how many of a virus, right? That's a longer process. It is not your rapid immune system. So you have to be able to last that long for that part of your body to take over. It's not your first line of defense. So that is some more knowledge that when you are listening to the news, you now have a little bit more to bring to the table in terms of what you know about the immune system. So there's a lot involved, as you can see. A lot of organs, a lot of cells, and a lot of different processes. It's complicated and it's throughout the body. Those T cells, remember I talked about the thymus. The T cells come from the thymus. And they include T helper cells like cytokines, another hot button word you may have heard recently. And they also create the T regulatory cells, the Treg cells, which help the body to not overreact, that rapid response team, not to shoot the wrong guy, not to kill off too many things, but to only hurt the bad guys. Okay, and then your B cells come from your bone marrow. And again, those are the ones that create the antibodies. So this goes all over the body, all throughout the body, going through your bloodstream, through the lymph system to communicate, to get from one place to another, to flush things out. This is a full body system. But let's look at it real quick again in a nutshell. Okay, your first line of defense is that immune barrier. The skin, which uses skin pH, we'll talk about it in a minute, your acidity or your alkalinity. okay? Stomach acid, the mucosal membranes, all of those things are meant to stop the bad guys from coming in the first place. Then your second line of defense is your innate immune system. Things like fever and inflammation, okay, caused by the innate immune system. Both of those responses are that immediate reaction to a pathogen. Oh no, bad guy, fever, inflammation. Let's see if that'll take care of it. The third line is your lymph system and your antibodies. Those antibodies going and specifically looking for the bad guy and then flushing it out. All right, so this is why I believe this is so helpful for you guys to understand all of this. Not only because now you've heard the terms, you've got a little knowledge so that when you listen to something online, you're not totally unaware of what they're talking about, but also because this shows us why hygiene is important. Who is getting tired of listening to how to wash your hands? Who realizes maybe you weren't washing your hands as well as you could have been, right? Who is realizing that actually touching our mucous membranes is something we shouldn't be doing, right? All of these terms that you've been hearing. Hygiene is important when you either have extra important, it's always important, but extra important when either you know you have a compromised immune system or when you know that you don't have any sort of antibodies. So your body's going to have to create fresh new antibodies. It's never seen anything like this before. That's when people start getting on TV and saying, please use all of these hygiene measures because it is your first line of defense. And it's something that no matter how likely you are to get sick or not to get sick, we can all do. Okay, so that's one reason that after all of this research, I thought, it's so silly that I now, the first thing that I've learned is, oh, duh, hygiene is just like you should always, but especially if you know you have a compromised immune system, being aware of things like touching your face, because that is something you can do equally. It doesn't matter if the rest of your immune system is working for you to have hygiene. Michelle, I see the link that you're putting down there. Yes, cytokine and cytokine storms has been a popular thing. That's another thing I would like to get into. If anyone wants to talk about that, maybe I could write a blog post or send you some more information on that. But I have done a lot of research on that. That is one of the T cells, and they are involved in inflammation response and inflammation regulation, but they can not be able to do their job or not be able to stop the pathogen. And that's a cytokine storm when they just keep pummeling it and the inflammation continues to go up and up. So the importance of not just having an immune system, but also of having an immune system that can balance itself. Hey, Donna, being able to balance, not just being able to attack. The cytokine storm is such a perfect example of that. Okay, so first, the importance of hygiene, just realizing, hey, we can all do line of defense 1. 2, fever and inflammation. Not only is fever or inflammation a sign of a problem going on in your body that your body is responding to, your immune system is in its first line of defense mode, but the second thing is that it's part of the healing. It is part of your innate immune system. And so when people get a fever and immediately try to get the fever down, what you're doing is suppressing your immune response. The time when you want to bring a fever down is when it's over 100, 100, 100, 203, when your body is unable to regulate the fever. Again, we're back to balance. Inflammation is actually part of the healing process, but sometimes our bodies are unable to regulate inflammation. And so we're back to our body's not only ability to fight things, but even more importantly, its ability to balance that fight, to not end up doing more harm than good because of the fight. All right. So those are just 3 takeaways before we even get into what you can do to support your immune system. Just having that knowledge, shining a light on that. It's powerful. So message me with questions that you have. Make sure to leave me your email in the comments. Guys, even if I have your email, please leave it in the comments or message me because I'm creating a separate list to send out just this information. So Michelle, Donna, I know y'all are on my email. Anybody else who listens to this, if you're on my regular email list, that's cool. But let me know what email you want me to send this information to because it'll be a separate thing. Okay. So let me know any questions you have about that. But with that said, we're going to move right on into the easier part, the funner part, the support part. It's our job, if we want to improve our health, to reduce the strain on our immune system and to support its proper function and ability to create a balanced response to these intruders. So our body can do a lot of this itself. This is one of the reasons when we talk about things like crystals or essential oils, we say, look, it's not medication. We're not curing anything. What we're doing is helping support our body's natural abilities. Your body is naturally created with an immune system to beautifully handle all of these external pathogens trying to get in, right? So all we're doing is trying to support our body's ability to use its immune system, and two, to reduce the strain. Don't put unnecessary strain on it so that it's constantly fighting stuff and not prepared when there's an actual intruder. So 2 major ways. We're focusing on just 2 so we can deep dive. 2 major ways that you can support your immune system are through your gut and your skin. Gut, you may have anticipated. Skin, you may not have thought I was going to say. But these are the 2 biggest parts of your immune system, and 2 ways where we can make simple and immediate changes to reduce the burden on our immune system and also support its ability to fight against pathogens and also to balance. All right? So the gut is the biggest part of your immune. Oh, before I say that, we're going to do 2 bonus ways at the end, but the 2 bonus ways, which are important, are going to get their own workshops. So just so you don't think I'm not going to talk about something you think is important, I probably will cover it, and it's probably also going to get its own workshop. But the gut is the biggest part of your immune system. You probably knew that. If you've been watching me for a while, you probably also know why. Your stomach, your intestines, the lymph tissue that is all over your intestines, all of that is super important to what goes into your body and is processed by your body and is either harmful or helpful for it, right? So if you have poor gut health, automatically you have affected your immunity. You have automatically lowered your immunity based on having poor gut health. So it's super important. Improved gut health improves immunity. And those of you who know my story know that gut health had a lot to do with it, having to find ways to heal that avoided my gut because my gut couldn't process things. So what are some gut facts? You have 100 trillion microorganisms in your body. Most of those are in your gut, okay? It's called your microbiome. microbiome, for those of you who are taking notes. Your microbiome, the cells outnumber human cells by a ratio of 10 to 1. You have 10 to 1 number of cells that are microbes in your body than number of human cells that are in your body. 99% of genetic material in the human body comes from your microbiome. 1% comes directly from your parents' DNA. 99% of your DNA that affects important things throughout your body, DNA that supports things like your ability to process food, your weight management, your mental capacity, your all sorts of things that are in your DNA. 99% of DNA genetic information is in your microbiome, and only 1% comes from your parents. Now, you do get other parts of this 99% from your parents because from your mom, you get a lot of her microbiome through the birth process, pregnancy and birth process. You inherit a lot of her microbiome, which is really fascinating. So that's one way that the health of a mother goes down into the baby, and it's one reason that the health of a mother is so important throughout that pregnancy process. So they're so careful. There are so many other reasons, but that is one of them because that's given to the baby. And inside of that microbiome is a huge amount of your immune system, right? So why is that? What do the microbes do for your immunity? Their job is to detect pathogens that are within your gut and activate receptors in your gut walls to trigger reactions. And these reactions are often something like inflammation, so inflamed gut, right? Irritable bowels, puffy stomach after eating, Okay, it's the job of these microbes to say, uh-oh, that doesn't seem good, and send a signal to your gut wall, send a signal to the lymph that are around your gut to say, hey, we got a problem, do something about it. And that triggers that immediate response of your innate immune system. All right? So having heard that, you can probably already think, you're probably already thinking in your head of some different diseases or chronic issues that might have to do with issues within your gut, with issues in your gut microbiome. And I'll give you some examples that are now believed to be strongly connected to that. Hashimoto's, right, which has to do with your thyroid, multiple sclerosis, and rheumatoid arthritis are all believed to start with an imbalance in the gut. That's crazy, guys, because that doesn't have anything to do with your gut, right? You might have been thinking about IBS or something, or Crohn's. But no, parts of your body that are not even in your gut can be affected by this lack of microbes, lack of immune system health within your gut. Okay, so how can we nip that in the bud? How can we support our gut so that it is working hard for us and working balanced for us in the immune process? First thing to do is to cut out irritants. We eat a lot of things, take in a lot of things that are irritating to the gut, and that is not good for the microbiome. So anything that triggers an immune response in you, okay, and we're all different, that is good for you to cut out of your diet, at least at first, so that you can then be able to build back up that gut immune system. Now, I hesitate to list specific things because it is different from everyone, and I don't want everyone to go stop eating all of the foods that you like without knowing whether or not your body can process them. This is a totally individual thing. What we are going to talk about today are the overall aspects of this, the overall things that you can do to help your gut, all right? So cut out irritants for you, but also irritants for all of us. First on that list for me, above anything else, is antibiotics. Okay, you know what an antibiotic is, right? It's something that you take inside your body to kill bacteria. What you may not realize is that it doesn't go and kill specific bacteria if you have a bacterial infection. It kills bacteria. So it will wipe the slate clean in your intestines and just kill as many things as it can while you're on it. And that depletes all of the important microbes that are in your gut. So anytime, and antibiotics are a miracle that they exist, right? We've saved probably billions of lives with antibiotics. But the overuse of antibiotics is creating antibiotic resistant strains of bacteria and also depleting the gut immune system. So the first thing is to be more aware when taking an antibiotic, when going to a doctor and having that discussion, have the discussion with a sense of awareness about what the side effects are of taking an antibiotic. And the second thing is, this goes beyond just going to the doctor, because probably a lot of us that are going to watch this workshop already try to avoid antibiotics when you can. But beyond the doctor, just as one example of this, glyphosate, which if you don't know is the active ingredient in Roundup, y'all know what Roundup is, right? Was patented in 2010 as an antibiotic. So Roundup that gets sprayed on crops is an antibiotic. So you know what that's doing to the microbes in the soil, and you know what that's doing to the microbes in your gut. So the first thing that you can do is avoid antibiotics on your food in the form of these sprays that get put on conventional food. So eating food sprayed with pesticides affects your immune system directly. Okay, eating organic, especially avoiding those dirty dozen foods. And I'll put that in the email, the list of the foods that if you're on a budget that you should absolutely eat organic. I will send that to you guys in that set of emails. All right. So avoiding antibiotics. That's our first thing. Our second thing you can do for your gut, avoid alcohol. This is a sadder one for me because I love wine. I love wine. I love whiskey. I used to drink Well, a lot, because I used to manage a wine store with Donna. But I don't drink hardly ever anymore because it's so important to me to have a strong immune system that I would rather focus on my immune system than the whole alcohol thing. So now I'm a tea addict, right? But avoiding alcohol, why? Well, because alcohol kills bacteria. The higher the proof, the more it kills. That is why that's why alcohol is in those hand sanitizers. Alcohol is in hand sanitizers because it kills bacteria and other microbes, right? Other bad things, which is great, but you don't want to pour that into your gut. So the lower the alcohol, the less of an effect that has. Okay, great. The higher the proof alcohol, the more of an effect that has. Or you could just reduce your entire alcohol intake, and then you're reducing the impact that has on your gut, okay? 3, avoid sugar. There are many reasons to avoid sugar, so many reasons, but the one we'll talk about today is that it triggers inflammation. Sugar triggers your gut response to create inflammation in response to the sugar, which is activating your immune system even while you're healthy. So in a normal, standard, healthy state, it's stressing your immune system. It can also weaken, and it's been proved to weaken, the body's response to other pathogens during the time that the sugar is in your system. So it's causing a reaction from your immune system and also keeping your immune system from being able to do its other job, which is to get rid of the actual bad stuff, right? Because it sees sugar as something that shouldn't be in your body. Okay, so now we're talking in these terms mostly of white sugar, but if you have a real gut issue, avoiding sugar across the board, including fruit sugars, is a good way to get a clean slate, a better gut microbiome in order to help you to heal, okay? Now, 2 positive things you can do. We went through the avoids. What can you include? Include pre- and probiotics. If you know me at all, if you've known me for 5 minutes, you know that I love probiotics. You have probably never heard someone talk about probiotics as much as you have heard me talk about probiotics. I love them. They have been huge in my health journey all the way from back in 2006 when I started taking them when they were weird and no one had ever heard of them. What they do is replace the helpful microbes in your gut so that you can rebuild that microbiome. So if you have taken antibiotics, if you have eaten foods that have been sprayed with pesticides, if you have been drinking alcohol, then taking a probiotic is giving your body back those healthy microbes that you need in your gut, okay? Second thing, prebiotics, that is the actual food that the good bacteria eats. So combining pre and probiotics is great because then you're taking in the microbe and also giving it food at the same time. So good sources of prebiotics are fermented veggies, fermented beverages like kombucha, kefir if you want a dairy product. I avoid dairy, but again, that's back to individual thing. But kefir has the strongest properties, probiotic properties and prebiotic properties. And then onions, garlic, bananas, asparagus, spinach. You could look that up too. Prebiotic foods. So many good foods for your gut that are going to feed those good microbes that you want. All right. So the second thing we can include is antioxidants. This is a word we've all heard, right? Antioxidants do so many important things. Shield your immune cells from environmental damage, encourage the production, encourage the production of white blood cells, which then go and bust the bad bacteria. The bad bacteria busting white cells. So encourage that. Protect enzymes that repair DNA damage and enhance the body's ability to rejuvenate itself. So you've heard of that, like the healing properties, the skin rejuvenating properties of antioxidants, right? Repairs damage done by free radicals. That's another one you hear about all the time. And I'm currently out of my favorite antioxidant drink. It's in the mail, hopefully, fingers crossed, but I've been eating a whole bunch of frozen wild blueberries recently just to get as many antioxidants as I can. because they're powerful, and they help to undo some of the damage that's happening in our body from all the other stuff around us and all the things we eat, et cetera, et cetera. So we haven't even touched the gut-brain connection. All we've talked about is the gut in and of itself. And so this is so important to overall health. It really is central to your overall physical health and mental health too. We're going to do an entire workshop on this, an entire workshop on diet and digestion, and that's 2 weeks from now. And I wrote that down to remind you at the end, but I'll tell you now. Diet and digestion, May 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right. So you definitely want to tune back in for that. For those of you who give me your email, I will put you on the email list that gives you reminders for when I do the workshops, so that you don't have to try to remember, but hey, go ahead and write it down in your calendar. So we'll do an entire thing on digestion because it's just such a big deal. But for tonight, that's it. Avoid antibiotics, avoid alcohol, avoid sugar, include pre and probiotics, include antioxidants. And you have done massive, massive, massive help to this most important part of your immune system. Okay, so the second thing, skin. The other super large part of the immune system covers your entire body, right? It's huge. It's that first line of defense. When you touch something, when it hits your face, it keeps it from getting inside your body. It's a physical barrier preventing pathogens from entering the body. It's called the stratobiome. So you have the microbiome and the stratobiome, these two important parts of the immune system. So to protect us, your skin uses several types of immune cells, as well as your lymphatic system, which runs right underneath the skin. So if you get like lymph nodes that you feel behind your ears, right, they're right under the skin. And then also the pH balance of your skin, how acidic or alkaline your skin is really important for neutralizing toxins as well. So let's think about all the things that touch our skin in a day. Besides the air, besides what you're walking through, breathing, all of that stuff, what are the things that you put directly on your skin? Soap, face wash, toner, face serum, face lotion, shampoo, body lotion, laundry soap, dryer sheets, all the surfaces that you touch, deodorant, shaving cream, makeup. I'm sure you guys can think of another couple of things. But the average American uses 9 personal products per day. 9 products that they're putting on their skin somewhere per day for a total of 126 unique chemical ingredients. The average person is using 126 chemical ingredients that they are putting on their skin, and their skin is absorbing and is going into their body. Think about the impact of these chemicals, which we now know to be toxic. Think of the impact of that on your immune system just by shampooing your hair and all that going into your scalp. Imagine it. If you have a standard conventional shampoo, I want you to pay attention the next time you shampoo your hair and think whether or not you feel slightly lightheaded after you get out of the shower or while you're washing your hair. I've done this experiment, and for me at least, my personal experience is that if I use a conventional shampoo, I can feel it entering my brain. Now, I'm highly sensitized to all of this stuff. I'm very aware, but I think if you paid attention, you would be able to realize that too. The sprays that you clean your kitchen with, your bathroom with, when you breathe that in and you start coughing, all of that has to do with those chemicals. So check the labels. All of these chemicals are damaging your nervous system. They're changing your hormone levels. Google endocrine disruptors if you don't know about that already. They're triggering allergies and skin and respiratory irritation, all of these things. And I can tell you about this because it's not telling you about, natural healing methods, right? I can tell you all of the things that these chemicals do. And if you want a list, I can send it to you. I can give you some resources. I've done some videos on toothpaste and on shampoo and what the chemicals in those do and which ones turn into formaldehyde and all sorts of good stuff. But nobody on these commercials that are all over our TV right now, not a single company is telling you about these chemicals that are in there. They're just telling you whatever the product does on the positive side. They're not telling you about the side effects, right? But check those labels. Get that list of what you don't want in your product and flip over your shampoo and see what's in there, right? Ditch the toxic products and switch to natural plant-based products that are not hurting you, first of all, and then actually have positive health benefits. First line of defense, get rid of the gross stuff. Second line of defense, take in some good stuff. All right. This supports your skin pH when you use natural products instead of chemical ones. It supports your stratobiome and doesn't kill those microbes or hurt the microbes on your skin. It keeps your lymph from being overwhelmed by toxins. I think it's pretty much across the board that people realize what some of the things that are in deodorant, how bad that is for women, right? That's one of the ones that really has come for people to recognize that across the board, how bad those standard deodorants are for women. And so just apply that and how it affects your lymphatic system to the rest of these products. And you can kind of understand the scale that we're talking about of these 9 products, these 126 chemicals that we take in often before breakfast and just our morning routine, right? So some things you can do besides getting rid of those chemical products and switching over to something better is dry brushing before you shower. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's like a hard, bristly, well, just Google it, but a hard, bristly brush that you can brush your arms, your legs, and that activates your lymph system and helps slough off dead skin to regenerate your skin before you take a shower. Then you can do face masks with charcoal or clay masks, or even your body. I'll do like my underarms or my arms. If I start to get dry skin or I feel like my skin doesn't look happy there, I'll put some of that same face mask on my skin and allow it to help detox my skin. Epsom salt baths and essential oils, sitting in that and allowing the magnesium salts, the Epsom salts to help draw the toxins out of your body. Drinking water, helping your lymph flush that stuff out, and all your detox organs, your kidneys and your liver, giving them the fluids that they need to process properly, right? So many positive things you can do, and also so many things that you can get rid of, and they're not hard. It's just making that decision to take that action to support your immunity. Okay, so the 2 bonuses I promised you, the 2 bonus things that you can do are sleep. Now, this is so important. Like I said, it's going to get its whole own other workshop. But one thing that is important here that I want to tell you is that poor sleep lowers your killer cell count and increases your cytokines. So we talked about the cytokine storm and how important that is right now. Certain different things that our body is fighting are more likely to create a cytokine storm than others. So you want killer cells and you want cytokines, but you want them in the right balance, right? So that's just one way in which sleep is lack of sleep is detrimental to immunity. And then our second bonus is stress. So brief stress can actually boost your immune system. So running, jogging, getting your heart elevated, cold water. You've heard of those, the Wim Hof method, the cold water baths, and cold and hot showers to kind of jumpstart your body, right? And even like tapping on your thymus, like we talked about, right? That's a brief stress, a stressor, a hey, wake up in there. Time to go to work. It's the morning. So brief stress on your body strengthens immunity. Now, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? But long-term stress suppresses your immune system, suppresses your ability to respond, okay? So stress gets its own workshop too. There are so many things we could talk about. And as I mentioned at the beginning of my story, I had health issues. I fixed them in college by getting my entire diet clean and also getting rid of toxic products, stop putting those on my body and in my house. And I thought I was done. But then it turned out that if you have hormone and stress and emotion problems, that affects your health too. So I'm also super passionate about that, and we'll have a whole other workshop on it. But as I mentioned, the immune system is large and it's complex. And I hope that you guys see now that while it's large and complex, there's actually a lot of good in learning something about it. And also, you realize because it's so complex and interconnected that one change can have this huge positive domino effect. Getting rid of chemicals in your life can have this positive domino effect on your entire body, on your skin, on your gut, on your lymph, on your respiratory system, on all of these types of organs that have to do with your immune system, right? Going out and walking, I didn't even mention this, exercise, walking for 30 minutes a day is one of the major ways to decrease your chance of a lot of these illnesses, a lot of these things like heart issues. It can be hugely affected just by moving, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that it helps your lymph system. So just taking a positive step may seem like something little to you, but it actually has a ricochet effect of huge positive strides in your own immunity and healing process. So I hope you're encouraged by that today. Maybe there are some steps that you're already taking. What I would love is for you to write down in the comments, what are some of the immune boosting things I mentioned that you already do? Share that with me. And then what are some that you've been thinking about, but you just haven't taken action on that now you think, oh boy, yeah, I should totally do that. Leave that in the comments below. What are you going to start doing and what are you already doing? Be proud of yourself for the steps that you already take to help your immunity. All right, so I want to follow up with you guys who are interested in what I've talked about tonight. What I want to send you is a little bit more information, including things like the Dirty Dozen. But most importantly, I want to share with you my own personal immune boosting routine. I have something that I do on a daily, weekly, quarterly basis to keep me from getting sick, that helped take me from getting sick all the time to not being able to remember when the last time was that I was sick. So I want to share that with you guys, and I'm going to share that with you in 2 or 3 emails with some different information I couldn't fit into here. So please leave your email below so that I can get you guys on that and get you the information that you need. And then another way that I would love to help you guys with your immunity and your healing goals is that I have added to the website a wellness strategy session. This is a new type of coaching session that I'm doing beyond my life coaching. This focuses just on your wellness journey, just on your mental, spiritual, emotional, physical health, okay? And what we're going to do is get your goals focused. What are a few goals that you're working on currently? Organize them in terms of priority and create a 3-month plan for success for you. So you can go find that on the website now. If you go to ivyandlight.com under healing and coaching or coaching and healing, you will find that, and it's called the Wellness Strategy Session. It's $40 for 45 minutes. We go through that entire process for you and we create a strategy, and then I send you a recap of the strategy so that you have that. And then you can check in with me as many times as you need through my coaching to help continue to keep you excited and moving forward. But just having that strategy is huge to help you to get where you want to go with more speed and more ease. So those are the 2 things that I have for you. Sign up for a coaching session if you would like on ivyandlight.com. Leave me your email so I can get you the information. And then let me know below if you have any quick questions. If you have a personal question that you want to ask me in a message or an email, feel free to do that as well. And I want to make sure, please, please, please invite your friends. If you have a friend that you think could use some information on diet and digestion, on stress, on sleep, on all of these other topics that we're going to be covering, please invite them into this group. You guys know this is a free group. The more the merrier. You're all welcome. I am happy to have you here. And I would love to be able to reach more people with this information. Nothing would make me happier. So invite your friends into the group and I will add them in. And then you can go ahead and let them know if you want what's coming up. And to put on your calendar as well, our weekly wellness workshops continue for the rest of this month. Next week, Michelle is leading us in animals and essential oils. That's going to be, I believe, she can correct me if I'm wrong, but 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's May 21st. So if you have an animal and you use essential oils, you want to make sure you're doing it safely for your animal, but also getting all the benefits of it. And so Michelle is going to go through a very in-depth and a very important information for anyone who has animals who has ever thought about using essential oils. Okay? And then 2 weeks from now, May 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern time, is diet and digestion. That is our next workshop in this whole series that I'm personally doing on all of the basics of physical health and emotional health too, because let's be honest, it's all the same thing. All right, guys, that is it. I did it under an hour. I'm proud of myself. For those of y'all who watch my videos a lot, you know that when I go under an hour, it's a wonderful thing. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll leave that email address, invite your friends, add the next weekly workshops to your calendar, shoot me a message if you have a private question that you want to ask me, sign up for a wellness strategy session if you want to deep dive into your personal goals, and let's get you started. All right, guys, love you very much, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.